called meeting of Purchasing Committee for December 8th, 2023. Carla, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Phillips.
Present.
Commissioner McAdoo.
Here.
Commissioner Boyd.
Here.
Commissioner Gooch.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Peete.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
Thank you.
I know it's only been 2 days, Mr. Vice Chairman, but have you had an opportunity to review the minutes of the Wednesday's meeting?
I have. She sent that out right away, and I find them to be appropriate, and I move for their approval.
We have a motion to adopt the minutes of the previous meeting of Wednesday. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second.
I noticed something that was incorrect. It wasn't included.
I did not include
Oh, here we go.
it. I did not.
You did not.
It happened before time of the meeting.
Maybe it happened after the meeting.
What is it, Commissioner Gooch, what is it we want to draw attention?
Well, I just made a comment that I was on my best behavior, and
Oh.
everybody agreed, and it was in the
And,
minutes.
you know-
Well, I will tell you, Commissioner Gooch, if you so desire, you can certainly vote no not to approve the minutes. If that is your desire, that is
I'm
certainly
going to be a
within
team
your
player.
purview.
Yes.
Certainly within your purview.
Or you can amend it.
Those comments happened before meeting time,
Okay,
so that's
so
why
that's
they
why-
were not
okay. I stand
included.
corrected, Mr.
I mean, it's right here in my notes.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that will go into my blue book.
Make sure this conversation goes in the
This
minutes.
one will be.
All those in favor of approving the minutes of the Wednesday meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes stand approved. Before we get to public comments, Commissioner Gooch, the chair does owe you an apology because you made it a point not at the last meeting, but the previous meeting that were to organize Wednesday and Friday's meeting that you didn't just request, but you demanded ham and biscuits. I specifically told my staff to provide ham and biscuits today because you were concerned you were going to be hungry. And the mayor's office failed to fulfill that obligation, so we do want to apologize to you.
Well, thank you for that apology, but I will say this: CUD provided a good lunch for us.
So it was
As the planning
it
commission
tried not to
tried
be unnecessary.
Right, but I still would have taken him.
I know.
Later.
Thank you very much. We don't have anybody listed for public comments, do
No,
we?
sir, we do
Okay,
not.
and so this is a special called meeting for the purpose of awarding the contract that was taken under, or the bids that were taken under advisement from Wednesday's meeting. Mark, if you and Mike and Bishop will come to the table, we can have that discussion. And also, let me say before we get started that we have Commissioner Mike Cush here, former chairman of the Public Works Committee, and Commissioner Joshua James. Welcome, gentlemen. You are free to ask questions, express a comment or an opinion. But I just as a personal privilege, I just want to thank Mike for his leadership on this issue for a very, very long time. I appreciate it. We would not be here today if it weren't for your leadership. So thank you very much.
This is a milestone day.
It truly is, and we're excited, and so thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
With that, if there is no objection, I'm going to let Mark Lee take us through, along with Mike and Bishop, take us through the eval about how they have evaluated the bids. I would prefer this to be just a conversation, so I'm not going to necessarily recognize anybody. So if you have a question for Mark or Mike or Bishop, feel free to ask, and then at the appropriate time, Mark will give us what he believes is his recommendation. Is that okay, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, Mark, you have the floor.
So, as you all recall, there were 4 bidders that submitted bids, and I did a very thorough evaluation of the bids. A lot of numbers to input. I did find that every bidder, I've never seen this before, but every bidder made mathematical errors. And, but the bottom dollar that they put as the contract, that's what the number is. Well, they made the
So
errors.
to clarify, even though there were numbers that didn't add up to their bottom dollar, it was their bottom bid number that was the final authority, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Did you tell them that they'd made a mistake on
I
the
did.
math? And let
I
them
didn't tell
know?
every one of them. It wasn't necessary. Good question. I contacted Moody, who was the apparent low bidder, and I told them that I found mathematical errors, and they had a very good explanation, and that is that the bonds that they have to purchase, that they have to pay for, they went back in their bid and they tried to allocate a certain percentage to each item so that it paid for their bonds.
So they prorated it
They
across the different aspects of the bid, okay?
Yeah, they did. And so when they had an item that was $6.48, I'll say, it was somewhere around there. I found out that actually what they did, they bid $6.48.44. And so that doesn't show up when you do the math. They took it out at 10,000th place. And so I called them and I said, what's up with this? And they said, that's where we didn't go back and correct the numbers, to the nearest cent. So very simple explanation. The others, I didn't contact because they were more than $100,000 or more over what Moody's were. But in Moody's case, their bid was $5,377,730. The math came to $5,403,438.93, and they said we're good with the number that we wrote, the final dollar amount. So
The lower amount.
yes. So
And what was that number again?
$5,377,730. And for what it's worth, every one of them that, like I said, every one of them made the math errors, and every one of them, their written bid amount was lower than the overall tabulation, but a fair amount.
$100,000 is a lot of difference, so
Yeah.
still,
Yeah,
if you're looking at apples and apples, and that's saying we are.
yeah. So, but I found them all to be in order, and if you're ready, I'll give you.
We may, I just want to make sure this committee is able to ask any and every question before we hear your recommendation.
Moody, they're a Rutherford County company.
Yes, they are.
They're based in Christiana.
We've done business with them before.
Oh, yes.
And the other companies we have as well.
Cleary, I'm very familiar with Cleary. I haven't worked with Covenant Constructors or Beach Construction, and I believe, I think Beach is out of Smyrna. Cleary is out of
Hopkinsville,
Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And I don't recall where Covenant.
Goodlettsville.
And they were the highest bidder. And also, besides these firm lump sum bid, there were items that we listed that that may be possible. There may be unsuitable material. And so what we wanted to do, even though the geotech report didn't show any, we wanted to make possible for charges at a reasonable price. If you don't do that on the front end, you're going to pay a lot higher price during construction if you come up with something that you need. So we listed items for hauling off unsuitable material and bringing in material, and so we got bids on that. And Moody's was also the best number on all of those. And SEC has worked with Moody on several projects, and we found it to be very fair. And if they find something that we as engineers didn't think about, or we missed, or there's some sort of a conflict, they'll call us up and they'll say, hey, we found this, and what we'd like to do is propose this as a solution, and we can work through this with no extra charges. They're very fair. So
I have a question in that
Yes.
regard. Because as Bishop has reported to Public Works, the Republic facility at Middle Point is gone up quite a bit on their tipping fees, and they have constrained their hours. Their operating hours are getting smaller and smaller, which are telltale signs of a facility that is rapidly going to end of life, moving toward end of life. In your experience with Moody, is there any reason why there should be an issue with them meeting the deadlines for the site work so that Rutherford County can be in a good place in the event that Middle Point closes in a couple of years? Has SEC had any experience with delays in deliverables on site work with Moody's in your experience?
We have not. We found them to be very timely in their work.
On budget, on time?
Right. So Moody is here. I don't know if you want to ask me a question.
Well, I wanted to ask you, since you brought it up, and I don't mean to speak about them in the third person, gentlemen. My apologies if that's rude. I wasn't my intent to be rude. But I want, before we hear the recommendation, I want to make sure this committee has the ability to ask any question that it wants, because this is a very important decision for this county, and we want to get this right.
At the meeting we had on Tuesday,
Wednesday.
We talked about site work. Could you just highlight what we're talking about? What this bid is for?
This bid is for everything that is not a structure, that is on the landfill, that is on the transfer station property proper. So this does not include it's probably easier for me to tell you what it doesn't include. It doesn't include landfill road itself. It doesn't include the boring project, and it doesn't include any structure. But it does include all of the subgrade work and the underground utilities that are on site up to the point of construction for the structural. Yes, included paving as well. Yes, yes.
Except for an apron area outside of the transfer station, a heavy duty.
Thank you.
So thank you. There are 4 parts to this project. There's the site work. There's the structural work, which is the actual transfer station, the office building, and the scale house. There is the renovation of the road. We're going to straighten and widen the road with some engineering work out there at Jefferson Pike to create a better turn lane opportunity. We're working with Middle Tennessee Electric on moving a pole, so that intersection is much safer. And then we've got the underground boring underneath the river that will happen to get us CUD water and Murfreesboro sewer back to this facility. So those are the 4 aspects of this project. This is the first of 4.
And there's a time element involved in this?
Yes.
How long?
Yeah, what is,
Mark? Did we say 180 days?
We did say yes.
Okay. The site work. Now, that does not mean that the structural can't happen before the completion of the site work. So there will be several things being done at the same time. We would imagine at some point all 4 phases of this project will be working on site at one time. That's the anticipation.
If they do not meet their deadline, is there a financial penalty?
Yes,
is
there
that
is.
part of the bond?
There
How
is.
much is
It's
the bond?
$1,000 per day.
And we consulted with Nick, Eric and Nick on that number. We did some research, and that seemed appropriate based on Nick's research.
Plus Public Works Committee has to go out there and work on weekends to get them back on schedule.
put that in the minutes.
Please, Chairman Cush.
If you don't mind, Mark and Matt, sorry. The two M's got me confused. The roadway portion, the Jefferson Pike, is that currently in design are you guys doing the design on that?
We've submitted our proposal. I think it's pretty, Nick is currently reviewing our terms and conditions, so we anticipate starting to work on that.
The county has accepted their proposal. We're working on the contract of that's on that proposal so they can begin the engineering.
So when would that likely bid if all things fell into place?
So let's just use the January 1 as a clean start date. Survey is going to take probably about 6 weeks, so it'll be middle of February, and I would think there's probably 2-3 months of design work in there. So I think we'll bid probably early spring.
Okay, so it's likely then that Moody, if Moody is who Mark recommends here, will be off-site. They were already demobilized by the
So
time.
I think the hundred, so they've got a milestone date of May 1, I think, in the contract to turn over a building pad and a haul road. And that is anticipation of when we would bring a building contractor on board. We anticipate that bidding probably in February-ish and awarding in March or April. And then they would continue their site work. They would obviously have some coordination with the building contractor. They know that. We talked about it during the pre-bid, stressed that.
So there will be some overlap.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. So it's possible that they could move right on into, okay.
Yeah, but just to be very clear, the road work will be a separate bid package.
Yes,
Obviously,
yes.
it would be might be to their benefit to bid on that since they've already got equipment stationed out there. But
Correct.
again, that would be something for the purchasing committee to determine based on the RFPs that we receive.
Thank you.
So I did notice in the news this morning that Moody received an award of bid for Butler Drive relocation. And I mean, we can ask them to tell their commitments and confirm you're concerned about meeting that May date.
Well, that's gonna be their concern. We're gonna be making money.
Well, that is absolutely correct, but it would behoove us to have an managed expectation in that regard. And I for one, think that's a relevant question, given the fact that they've got Butler Drive and probably have other projects as well. Does getting both those, getting potentially this award and having received that award, to what degree, if any, does it stress their ability to meet the time constraints and the deliverables of this project? Because I, for one, am only concerned about this project, not the others. But that's my responsibility, as it is yours. So if Jeremy, or it's Jeremy, right?
I'm Jeremy.
And Jeff.
Oh, we got them both here.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't y'all pull up a chair, slide down and grab a chair for them, Bishop, and maybe you can answer a couple of these questions for us.
No problem. Thank you. I can sit over here. You're good. You go well.
So can you answer Mark's question about the Butler Drive contract you received last night, and to what extent, if any, that would adversely your performance on this particular project?
This particular project, I have no concerns on schedule on this project. We have low cubic yardages, in my opinion. These are low cubic yardage to move and build. Butler Drive starts mid-January. We still have about 3 weeks of erosion, clearing trees, and prep work. So I don't see us on site until mid-February. But even then, it's a large import job. It doesn't take a lot of demand from my crews.
When you say a large import, can you explain
It's a
that?
60,000 yard import, so it's going to
Okay.
be mostly road trucks from the quarry,
Oh,
importing
okay.
with one dozer.
I got you.
And then the little dirt work that I have, it takes little equipment to build.
Okay.
So we're set up. We have 115 employees. I have 4 or 5 grade crews, 3 large mass grade crews and 2 small grade crews. So we have under 50 employees for grade alone. So when I say that this project is small in our caliber, I have no concerns with this schedule. The only thing that I have concerns are weather, and that's the only thing that can slow us down. Starting a project in January, February, and March, you're subject to weather and work days. So that's my only concern on this project.
If you were awarded the project, you would have a pre-construction meeting with SEC pretty quickly, which basically the bid book is the contract. How quickly do you think you could mobilize and begin?
Immediately.
Okay.
Immediately.
And how long do you anticipate the environmental taking before you can, I would assume you would do the environmental part, the fencing, while staging
Yes.
your equipment at the
Yes.
same time?
Yes.
How long would it take you to do the
Couple
environmental
weeks.
part? I'm sorry?
Just a couple weeks
Okay.
to install erosion control, and then we have about 3 acres of trees to clear and
Right.
get proper ASPC measures in and inspections, about 2 to 3 weeks, and then we'll start grading.
Okay.
Is the holiday season, if I may, is the holiday season factored into that 2 or 3 weeks?
I don't see this project starting before Christmas. We're back to work on January 2, and then we have no other holidays. So
So your 2 or 3 weeks starts January.
Yeah, basically. Or if you award it today, you know, we have 2 more working weeks in the year because we take off between Christmas and New Year's. So if you award it today, we could get set up and mobilize erosion control before the holidays if it's finished today.
Any other questions?
Just regular updates, progression updates to the
Public Works,
Public Works,
absolutely.
so we can keep track on schedules and those kind of things.
Certainly.
We will have monthly meetings
Yes.
with the contractor.
Yeah, and those reports will come through Bishop, and if there's a reason that, it's Jeff and Jeremy, right?
Yes, sir.
It would be, I think the committee, Public Works might appreciate from time to time seeing you at Public Works, just to hear from you directly, if that's not too difficult. We didn't put that in the bid, but I know that, the committee in particular likes details from the contractor's perspective, as would I. So if it's not, too onerous, that would be a request from the mayor.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
With that being a BFI station, we routinely, for our routine schedule, we take drone photos of all of our job sites to actually give updates to our clients. Will BFI allow a drone?
That is not a BFI location.
County property.
So,
So,
so we can hire our own drone operator and provide those images to you monthly?
Absolutely,
Or you can use the county's
Yeah.
GIS.
we could, or
Yeah,
we
have
can use
our
our GIS department, but yeah, just coordinate those things with Bishop directly, and that would be great. That would, a visual like that before a committee meeting, on a periodic basis would be of great advantage. It really would. That would.
my office is on site. I'm there all week, so we're there available during the whole project.
What he's saying is, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, he's gonna know.
Something like that.
Where are you?
Yeah, yes, Anthony. Commissioner
Mark,
Johnson, I'm sorry.
Just to be clear, if your recommendation is Moody, it's not just because they're the cheapest, it's because they meet or exceed what the others would provide.
That's correct. Yes.
So I didn't want somebody to think, well, we're just taking the cheapest way out.
No, there are several, when you talked about it yesterday, there were several factors involved. Obviously, price is a significant factor, but Vice Chairman P brought up at the Wednesday meeting, where are these companies located? And just, as an aside, it's easier to hold local contractors accountable than it is somebody from outside the state, as we found out with the engineering part of this. So, you live and learn a little bit. But yeah, there were several factors that went into the evaluation.
I also made some calls on some projects that all of the applicants, except one, I couldn't find any references to call back on them to find out quality of work, timeliness, and they met all the metrics that I would expect in a good contractor.
We have done business with Moody for a long time, and they're a fantastic customer.
Likewise, the county engineering works with them constantly, almost on a daily basis.
We're family now.
Yeah. So we have no complaints.
Having said that, Mark, what is your recommendation?
I've found Moody Excavating to be the lowest and best bid.
So your recommendation is Moody Excavating?
Yes, sir.
So move.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, Carla, call the roll. Wow, this has been a horrible week for names. How could I forget Doug DeMossi's name the other day? Exactly.
You've been hanging around Joe Biden there.
It's just like,
I don't think he heard you. That's fine.
I'm going to excuse myself.
I tell you what, purchasing is a rough crowd. What it is a bunch of angry old white men is all it is.
Like I say, it gets better, Joe.
It gets better.
It's a bunch of angry old men. All right.
How come they left the table?
They knew a fight was fixing to break out. Carla, call the roll before we get in trouble.
Okay, are y'all ready?
More
Commissioner
than.
Phillips.
Aye.
Commissioner McAdoo.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd.
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner P.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving us the opportunity.
Absolutely. If you'll stick around, If gentlemen, if you'll stick around until after the meeting, I would appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Is there any other business before the committee?
We meet next.
Tuesday, the 12th. 4:30, yes, under advisement.
Gentlemen, I appreciate your indulgence on these specially called meetings. I think it's worth it. It helps us get this thing down the road. And I think on occasion, this kind of, it merits our attention. So thank you very much. And I'll see you at the next called meeting. Meeting stands adjourned.